I think it's working now.
We hope. We pray.
We hope.
Every day.
Welcome to Comics and Coffee, where apparently a Windows update got pushed through last night and messed with all our audio devices.
Did that happen on the streaming station downstairs too?
Yeah.
With Streamlabs or OBS or something?
Yeah. Yep.
This is why I've done everything I can to disable all updates on anything and everything. Same thing happened with my NVIDIA card, and the update for NVIDIA means I can't watch my 3D movies anymore on my computer. So I definitely had to go back and get the old driver.
We also, we got it working, and we would have been live a lot sooner, but YouTube decided not to work, so we had to keep trying to go live on YouTube. We tried like 4 times, and then it finally worked, so now we're here!
Yep, and I did get a pop-up that they have like a new live control room feature. I'm like, I don't have time to mess with this right now. I don't have the time for this. We can't. We gotta go. We gotta do stuff.
Oh my gosh! Welcome
shit to do.
To Comics and Coffee. We are late. You know, we're trying to do something nice, which is stream to 3 places at once, in a way that's like appealing to all platforms. I don't know if we should even be attempting to do this to Facebook, honestly, because only like 2 people watch at a time. But YouTube, obviously, a lot of you watch, and it takes a lot of tech to make us stream out to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time without interrupting our Twitch stream that happens before and after, and while also making sure the YouTube stream's connected properly and has a good quality and all that good stuff. We're going to keep trying to do this. But Lord, does this not make this simple little show the show with the most tech problems? It's the easiest show we do on Hyper RPG, and it has the most tech problems because we're trying to do something to just try to make you guys happy and give you the option of choosing whether or not you want to watch on Twitch or YouTube. It definitely makes our lives more difficult, though. This should not be this frustrating.
Well, we did it, though. And you got a delicious bowl of chili.
You got more time to catch up on these books.
Yeah, man. I've gone through like 3 now. This is great. This is great. One of them was like, whoa. One of them was like, weird. And then this one, I don't really know how I feel about Tom King's Batman.
Oh, really? Still on that?
I think I'm into it.
Adam's in a similar place where he's always kind of like, I don't know how
Yeah, I feel like, and I think also because like when it comes to DC, there's been so much stuff that's been happening in the books for the last like year or 2. It's sometimes it's really hard to just jump in. Like I read Flash Forward today, and I liked it, but again, it's one of those things of like if you haven't read Heroes in Crisis and you haven't really gotten the full context of what's been going on.
And Heroes in Crisis didn't draw me, man. I couldn't get into it. Did you read it? Did you guys read it?
I haven't. That's why I was like, I'm missing context.
You're a good in between because Adam's our DC guy. I'm our Marvel guy. We both read the Independents.
Yeah.
You read Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Hey man, according to the internet, I don't know what I am anymore.
According to the internet, you hate DC.
I do.
You're a Marvel
I saw that new tweet. That was so funny. And then it's like he posts this guy posts a
2-year-old trailer reaction.
Yeah. I was like, what the heck? Who's watching these?
Obviously that person is. Obviously that person is obsessed with our content and doesn't want people to know it, and he's watching everything all the time. So thank you for taking the time to clip something from 2 years ago and edit a video out of it.
Yeah, man.
Based on your opinion. We appreciate your opinion. Thank you so much. And for all the people that commented below, thank you for interacting with Hyper RPG. We would love to have conversations with you about DC movies and how we all wish they could be better because we like these characters. But when you guys are ready to have that conversation, we're down. Whenever you want to. We're
Whenever, man.
I don't know anyone who loves Superman more than Adam. So when I see people blasting at Adam on Twitter about like, these guys hate Superman, all this and that, I'm like, Adam literally is the biggest DC fan I know. Your like high school project throughout high school
final
was a Superman fan film.
It was.
Oh, what? When do we go watch that? Do you have
it? It's
Are you
somewhere
Superman?
on YouTube. Yeah.
You're Superman?
Yeah.
Well, not in costume, but yeah.
Yeah. He opens the
Oh, dude.
He's like the biggest Superman fan.
I love Smallville when I was in high school. Like that was kind of like my show. So I did like a nice little mashup of like Superman 78 and Smallville. It was fun.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
would understand if people were like, Zach's a Marvel shrill. I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Probably. You know, I'll take their paycheck. Hire me, Marvel. But of all the people, Hector literally works at DC. Adam loves Superman more than anyone I know. And you all come after them hard. And it is fucking hilarious to someone on the outside who actually hates those movies. I think it's hilarious because I'm like, fuck all these movies. I think they're awful. I'm not supposed to cuss on the show anymore.
Well,
that's
we
not true.
get one.
I
FPG-13.
say that just to rile them up. I watch all of the DC TV shows. I watch all of the DC the DC app.
We had a really
I
good talk
probably
on
watch
Titans.
way more DC content than the people who only watch the Snyder movies.
That's true.
Yeah, man.
That's true.
But I don't consider myself a DC fan.
I think they just watch those movies on repeat.
Yeah,
and
I
they
don't
just
know.
get upset.
I don't know. They get upset. Y'all need chill. Y'all need chill. That was a trailer reaction from 2 years ago.
And watch Hustlers. That's a really good movie.
You guys missed the context of that whole thing. It was just like, Adam really likes Henry Cavill. He thinks he's awesome. And he saw that one scene from the trailer of Henry Cavill being like, I'm gonna f you up. And there was so much passion in that one scene.
That improvised moment.
It wasn't the fighting, it's the like, I want my Superman to have that. I want my Superman to have that level of like, instead of being like a cold, lifeless CG rubber body that's walking around. That's an honest complaint from someone who loves that world and the character. Like to come after someone like that and to dog on them for hoping and just wanting it to be better cracks me up. Cracks me up.
Yeah, man.
You don't need to get your priorities straight.
Yeah.
Get your priorities straight.
I just finished the new issue of Batman.
Okay, cool.
And I like this last panel. It's very sweet. I think it's very sweet.
Oh, is that Catwoman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ship Selena and Bruce. You know.
Who does?
There's
It's
a
nice.
poll that went out recently asking if people ship Selena and Bruce or Diana and Bruce.
I ship Selena.
Selena. I'm
Selena.
Selena and Bruce, yeah.
I think
Selena.
Clark and Diana personally.
Sure.
Is that just me?
I'm kind of okay with Wonder Woman having someone completely not
Yeah,
related
me
to being a
too.
superhero.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, you know.
If the option's on the table, I'm like, nah, she's fine.
Yeah,
She
you know
doesn't
what?
get either of
No,
them.
we have to ship people from the Justice League with Justice
I've
League.
I
always-
like Wonder Woman, with a normal dude. It's
Yeah, I like that too. 'Cause
I
it's
also
what
like-
makes her like.
Yeah.
That makes her.
Makes her spend-
She
yeah.
was into that, you know.
I think
She's, like,
she's
interesting.
she's cool. Like when she's in a position where like she's an alpha.
Yeah.
She's a fucking alpha. You think her and Superman would? I mean, actually, Superman's a little bitch. So yeah, they'd probably be fine. They'd probably be actually. She'd be alpha in that situation. 100%.
They're just building
100%.
enemies
yeah.
everywhere.
Let's be real. Let's be real. If it's down to the wire of in a relationship between Diana and Clark, because Clark is Superman. Superman is Superman, but Clark is the heart of who Superman is. He'd be Diana's little bitch. We all know that. We all know Diana would be like.
Well, we all know who the better fighter is, that's for sure.
That's right.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, outside of flame arguments on the internet, this is how we get people to watch, right? We just have to have hot takes.
I mean, I think next week.
gotta have hot takes?
What we should have done is we should have just said 15 reasons why the Snyder Cut will never come to fruition.
Oh God.
And then everybody would have watched. We would have never mentioned it. We would have been fine.
Yeah,
Dang.
no, they would argue with us in the chat whether we wanted them
know.
to or not. But
They're still arguing. I tweeted out that person that tweeted at me. I was like, I posted that GIF from Ferris Bueller. I was like, you're still here? It's over. Go home. And there's still comments being made, and I'm like, I'm good.
I think
I'm good.
sometimes people just like hearing themselves.
They do.
Yeah.
we're all
We're all a little bit. We're all human.
Yeah. Look, it's
We're all
fine.
human.
There's plenty of other DC content for me to love and tweet about. And if there's 2 movies that I don't necessarily like and I never tweet about again, well, actually one really.
Yeah.
It's Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
Suicide
'cause
Squad.
you
I'm
actually,
like, whatever.
That's the thing too. It's like they were posting a scene from Man of Steel, and it's like you like that movie.
I do.
Yeah, I actually like Man of
I
Steel
come
too.
into this house every once in a while and see him watching it. Get your priorities straight, internet.
Do
They're
the Hans
making
Zimmer
fights
score.
with the wrong people.
They just don't bother to research and they don't care about context. They don't care.
No.
They
Hey,
care
man.
about 30-second little quotes.
They want to pick a fight. They're going to do it.
I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna be angry.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, it's Titan Season 2. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, cool. Bye. Have fun.
It's that song from Spider-Man. Who's here trying to start a riot? That's all it is.
God.
That's all it is, man.
You know, it's what it is.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Good to have you today.
Good to have you.
Thanks for getting
good
off
to have
early.
you too here.
We started late. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about comic books today. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff, things going on, and
If you thought we were going to run out of time before with Matt here, we're not going to get
we're
through
not going to
anything.
get through anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there are the big books we'll talk
Of
about
course.
this week. Maybe we
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
go through everything this
Sure,
week, and we just
sure.
go through the big books. I know we all read J.J. Abrams' Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah. I just read that.
Yeah. You know, let's just get into it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
I feel like there are certain people, in general, when I talk about comic books, I only want to talk about what I like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I only want to bring up stuff I like. I only want to talk about things that I'm excited by. I do think when you're J.J. Abrams, though, and Marvel's like, this is our big PR stunt. they literally told people in interviews they thought this was going to be their next Star Wars #1. Star Wars #1's the highest selling comic book for them. It was like a million
that blew
comics
up.
sold. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
they thought this was going to be the next thing. It's not going to be that, because Star Wars #1, in a similar fashion, was like a retelling, a bringing you back, a familiar feeling. But what Star Wars #1 by Jason Aaron did when you picked it up is he went, I'm in fucking Star Wars. You could hear the music playing in your head. Every scene, you could hear their voices.
If you're like me, you just put on the music.
Right.
Same.
You were in it. You were just in it. When I pick up J.J. Abrams' Spider-Man, I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
What book am I reading?
It's from
Who? Wait, what? Huh?
like.
Oh, okay. We've seen that before. We've seen that before. Oh, you're gonna use that to motivate that? Yeah, we've seen that before. Oh, missing a hand. Haven't seen that before, but what the fuck?
It's so J.J. Abrams in like a bad way. Because I like J.J. Abrams a lot.
Like I
was
said,
really
it's
excited for
J.J.
it.
Abrams for better or worse.
Yeah. I mean, even like the new villain, it's so J.J. Abrams. Oh my god.
It's like something. Pull it back up. It's
pull it
something
back
like
up.
cadaverous.
Cadaverous.
Cadaverous or
Cadaver,
something.
I think. Yeah.
Like a walking cadaver. Why not use one of the many great villains from the Spider-Man
Or like fight.
Cadaverous.
I mean, I guess, and it's so hard to say because I guess we are not really gonna know exactly like what the purpose of that villain is until we see a little bit more of like what's the story. But at the same time, I'm like, Spider-Man already has such an incredible rogues gallery.
Yeah,
he does.
Right alongside Batman, probably like the greatest rogues gallery. Why did you feel the need to create a brand new villain?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
He already had a lot of things going against him. You have to make us care about these characters. Anytime I pick up a Spider-Man book, the #1 thing I'm going to be trying to feel out of it is, do I care?
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man's about caring.
Right.
You got to give a shit.
And you still have to like, even with these characters, I feel like he didn't really. There was no not reward for in the first 3 pages. I don't know if we can talk spoilers here or not, but like there's a big thing.
Do you want us to talk spoilers? You let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
If you want us to talk about the spoilers, let us know, and we can give you a warning and we'll talk about them. If you want us to not tell you anything about the book at all, and you want to make your own judgment, also let us know. We'll kind of feel it out in the chat, and we'll come back to it.
Spoilers. I'm fine with spoil.
Okay, the Twitch chat is pretty
Moving.
like they're
YouTube
actually
chat is like,
Oh, here's YouTube chat.
yeah. YouTube chat moves way slower. Just a heads up.
Gotcha, okay.
We love you guys, but talk more. We'll listen. We'll read. We'll
Yeah.
read.
I won't say anything. All I know is that it was supposed to have very heavy weight to it, and
Yeah.
I literally, I think I rolled my eyes at it.
I did
was just
too.
like,
When you got done, I was like, I
okay.
rolled my eyes so many times.
I was right here, and
Yeah.
I think what did I say? I was like, I said something.
forget, yeah.
I was like, that's weird. Or something.
well, for me, so like,
Okay. YouTube also saying spoiler.
Cool.
Okay.
Page 3, Mary Jane dies,
Yes.
Yeah.
and you don't feel a thing.
It's just like, okay.
You don't, and that's the thing with these characters, especially Spider-Man, because Spider-Man. Yeah. What?
Again?
Spider-Man has not always been with Mary Jane. There's certain, I think, characters throughout the history of comics or their character kind of lexicon, if you do a certain thing to them, like killing Clark Kent's dad,
Yeah.
that's going to have more weight to it than even Mary Jane, because Mary Jane is a off and on. I love Mary Jane so much, one of my favorite characters in Spider-Man, but she's been so many other things.
Yeah.
And to just throw her into this book when in our comics we just now got Mary Jane back. Like
Yeah.
this is a recent thing. We just got Mary Jane back. They've been separated since 2008. It's been a long time. And to just say, oh, they're together and she's dead on page 3, and it's basically you got to learn nothing about her and she's just used as a plot device to help move the story forward and make Peter a sad boy.
Yeah.
We've been there before.
Then, like, I don't know if you guys read Spider-Gwen Annual, the newest one came out like a couple weeks ago.
No,
They had
I
a
didn't
whole
know
commentary about it where she went into this thing that like she was in our world and she fell into like an arcade trap that was set up for Peter, and like she's just like, I guess I gotta go through this arcade thing, you know? And she's beating up all these bad guys and stuff. And then she gets to the end and it's like, can you save her? And it's like Gwen Stacy, and she's like, is this how people see me? Is this like, am I just like used as this? You know, like she didn't get to like live the way she wasn't remember how she wanted to be.
Yeah.
I get to
Right.
make that choice, and it was really awesome. And like that's exactly what this comic did. And I'm like, no,
It's like you even made fun of this, Marvel. You have acknowledged that you guys have used this way too many times. it would be one thing if nobody'd done it yet.
Yeah.
And that's what JJ's trying to act like he's doing. It's not a shock when we're comic book readers. We've been through this. Yeah. We've been there. We've done that.
Yeah.
It's happened so many times before that they tried to take it away once by saying she made a deal with the devil. She has died so many times to motivate Peter that they were like, you know what? Let's do something different. Let's have her make a deal with the devil. Maybe that'll be a good idea. It wasn't.
It was not a good idea.
But it was still a better idea than just killing her again to motivate Peter. Yeah. I even like Spider-Man Rain better.
But did it even motivate Peter? Because then we get
no, it didn't.
We get like a 10-year time skip, and Peter Parker is like the worst version of Peter Parker.
We got emo Peter Parker back.
Yeah. And it follows their son in this case, Ben Parker, who's kind of going through. It feels very Man of Steel high school days.
Well, not only that, I mean, like, and I don't know.
It's so Abrams.
Yeah, it's so
Abrams. Man. Your family legacy. Right. It's called Born in Blood. It's like the sins of your father.
And I mean, even for me, someone who like, I don't actively read Spider-Man. Anything that we do on the show is probably the most exposure I've had to Spider-Man, maybe since like sometime in like high school or before that. So even reading this and turning to page 3 and seeing Mary Jane die, the first thing I thought was like, well, that's not permanent, or I know that this has been done already because I know people who read comics who talk about stuff that's happened in Spider-Man's previous, sort of like stories. So I go into it thinking like, okay, well, what is this supposed to lead to, if anything? And then you turn the page and it's 15 years later and it's now about Ben Parker. You're like, okay, so she's basically his Uncle Ben, but I'm not aware, I don't understand the relationship because there's no setup for it. It's just, we're in, she's dead, 15 years go by and it's like, oh, now that I'm like angry and angsty and I'm frustrated with what's happening, I'm developing spider powers.
Here's what I felt the most reading it. Because right after I got done reading that book, I read Once and Future.
I haven't read that. Is that indie comic?
It's so fucking good. Dan Mora is doing the art in it, and
sweet.
You see Power Rangers all over it. Like you can tell his time on Power Rangers is just like in his blood now.
Yeah.
And all the colors and everything about it's just like it looks like a Power Rangers book, but it's really good, and it's super cinematic.
Yeah.
It's so cinematic. It reads like a fast-paced, well-oiled machine of a movie. And I get the same thing when I'm reading X-Men. And House of X this week was good.
Yeah,
dude, I can't wait to tell you about it.
Was so good.
It was so good. And I feel like here's a good example though of, and we talked about this when it was first announced. I don't always think it's a good idea for people who make good movies to try to make a comic book. They're two different art forms and it doesn't translate super well. Just like I don't think somebody who can make a great comic book necessarily can just be like, I'm gonna direct a giant movie.
Yeah.
They're different skill sets. Yeah. And it's a PR stunt. And Sarah, I love her artwork. She's so great. It was not on all cylinders in this book.
No, it didn't feel like Pacelli artwork.
No.
It felt so
And I don't know if it was the color that was with it that made it feel flat, but it didn't feel like her book. It felt rushed. The colors were a little like gloomy and not Spider-Man,
Yeah, it was a different colorist too. Dave Stewart. I think he's a newer. I don't recognize that name.
And I don't, like I said, I don't like talking about books that I wasn't feeling, but this is such a big PR move from Marvel. I think it should be critiqued, and I think it should be looked at as like, is this really what we need, Marvel? Like, I think they're gonna hear back when they see also the sales not doing well, that this little PR stunt didn't really work, and the way they botched. This is so you don't remember when this was announced?
I didn't know it was happening until today.
You'll remember how it was botched though. Remember on Twitter when they put out a thing that was like
4.
The number 4
of spider web.
Oh, that's what this is? Wait,
that was the
what
countdown.
This is?
They were counting down to the announcement of this.
Instead of starting at 5, they started at 4. And people were
everyone was like, or no, it was 3?
No, it was 4. Because everybody thought it was going to be Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 4.
And everybody got super hyped.
And then Alex Ross tweeted some like original artwork he did for Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Which
and
confused it even more.
Yeah.
Whoa, people were like, oh, it's gonna be an announcement of Sam Raimi coming back to write Spider-Man. And then it was like J.J. Abrams and his son writing Spider-Man. And people were like,
what the fuck?
We didn't ask for that. Nobody asked for that. Like, we love J.J. Abrams, but nobody asked for this.
Yeah.
What we did ask for was we want to see what he.
It confused the crap out of people.
Everyone. So. It was a terrible. Yeah. That was a marketing fail.
5. What the hell?
That was a marketing fail, and really I feel like this book is a PR stunt.
Yeah.
Could have been done better.
And then, oh man, they even leave it in like this is another spoiler for the comic where it's like the bad guy. It looks like
Mary Jane.
It's Mary Jane in like a tube. I'm like, this is so.
It's like, oh, is this Mr. Freeze, and that's his Mrs. Nora Freeze.
Yeah.
But that moment didn't sell for me at all because the character, whoever this villain is, and I know he's doing a very Abrams thing, like we'll learn more about it later. Here's your mystery box that you don't know anything about. It doesn't work in a comic book whenever you kill her on page 3, and the villain who's doing this has no setup to that, no remorse, no anything. Part of the reason there's this whole joke about these like monologues by villains and stuff like that is motivations are important in a comic book. We don't know who these characters are. I want to be able to know that if he's killing Mary Jane when he why?
Yeah.
What's the point behind it? Otherwise, your whole reveal at the end means nothing to me. It just was so flat. All the way through.
I think the way that it could have worked a little bit better, at least the setup aspect of it, if there was some sort of like prelude comic, like some prologue or introduction of like this like at least for the villain at the very least.
I feel like that was Abrams' whole thing. Like I'm going to take the Spider-Man universe and flip it on its head, which Hickman has done with X-Men and has done it.
It's like
and that is part of the issue here.
Yeah.
If you're bringing new people to comic books, and that's your goal with Abrams, you're bringing new people to comic books who haven't been a part of that experience. That's your goal here. Same way Star Wars #1 was your goal. Let's get new people reading comic books. Put your best out there. Put your Hickman, your doing your script touch-ups on there. Put your Jason Aaron's doing it. You've got a great team at Marvel right now. Marvel has an amazing team right now. You know, put your Donny Cates on there, whoever.
Yeah.
And you get Sarah doing her best work with your best colorist because you've got new people checking out the book and you want to reel them in. This, to me, felt like Marvel 6 or 7 years ago, or actually even longer than that, because 6, 7 years ago, Marvel was actually doing really fucking great.
Was that?
Let's say 10 years ago.
That was like during Avengers Hickman run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say even further, like it just felt older. It felt rushed. It felt like it shouldn't be the thing that they're saying this is going to sell as many as Star Wars #1. Star Wars #1 felt polished. Star Wars #1 felt like it had their best team on it. Had epic, monumental moments. When you read House of X, and there's frames in that you're like, I'm gonna hang that on my wall. Like they're iconic.
Yeah, man.
There's a handshake in that's iconic. That's what you want new readers seeing. You want people being like, oh, this is dope. I don't feel like I got any of that from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was so flat.
Yeah.
It's just flat.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't anything in there enough for me. Like, do I personally want to continue it? I think I do, just because I want to see gets better, gets, kind of stays the same. What's the plot? Who's the villain? All that sort of stuff. But I don't know if it's, for me being sort of like a not really big reader of Spider-Man, I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna be like, oh man, this J.J. Abrams thing on Spider-Man was dope. Or I'm gonna revisit it multiple times. It's probably gonna be something I read once. I'm like, okay, well, now I kind of want to go explore some other part of Spider-Man's world where I can really get into the world and the characters and the villains and really experience the lore of Spider-Man.
Can you imagine if they'd put Assad Ribic on that?
Oh, that'd be super sick.
But he's doing King Thor right now.
It's so good. I'm literally reading it right now.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm reading King Thor right now.
Oh, okay. You know what? Well, Adam and I catch up a little bit. I want you, because we talked about this last week. There's a moment in King Thor. Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Oh,
it's coming
shit.
up.
Oh shit.
It's coming up. It's coming up. I want to see how you react to it.
Okay, cool.
Because it was like my favorite moment in comics last week.
This is his last story, right?
That's it, dude.
That's crazy, man. I loved everything he's done.
You've read a lot of the Jason Aaron Thor run.
From the God Butcher. I didn't do most of
this guy.
Yeah, dude, you gotta read it.
You gotta fucking read it.
Okay.
How many times do I have to say this?
Every week.
Every week.
Start with the God Butcher shit.
That's what I told
Can I not
him.
cuss on this one?
We're not supposed to anymore. We're supposed to be trying to not to because YouTube pushes down stuff. They have an automated program that searches the dialogue, and if they hear cursing
or bleeps
or even bleeps, it pushes it down in the algorithm.
Well,
and we get less ad revenue.
Well, crud.
Which is not much anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss out on that 10 cents.
Yeah. Oh, 30. Never mind. I don't even want to get into that conversation because I could and I don't want to.
But Matt and I have talked about Jason Aaron's Thor run for a while now. Like, if I was trying to bring new people to comic books in today's day and age and make them go, holy shit, I had no idea that comics were this cool.
Yeah.
That Thor. Thor with Assad Ribic and Jason Aaron is something that is so epic, it can only be captured in comic books.
Yeah.
and it opens your imagination much larger than the movies ever could.
And not just that, like everything that he sets up in that run. Reading that, I never imagined how big of an impact that run would have on the overall Marvel universe. Like it's all that stuff is coming back in like big ways. Like
Even the God of Venom,
I know
was set up by
Carnage,
Jason Aaron.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
that whole, all of it.
What's his name?
The All Black
Noel.
sword.
Noel.
Yeah. God Noel, like the All
That was
Black
all
sword
set
by the
up
God
in
Butcher.
Jason Aaron's run, man.
Crazy.
And now we're gonna see that influence in Love and Thunder.
I can't wait.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh my God. Get Assad Ribic to do some of the posters for that movie. And it's the wrong style. I mean, that's the thing, like, there's an epicness to it and a grandness that's like it feels like Conan the Barbarian in modern times. And that's part of what makes it so awesome.
Yeah, man.
Like the 2 pages from now. Like, I can't wait for you to get to it. Somebody says in the Twitch chat, there was a time Matt would never have cussed. Then he worked for Zach, and Zach slowly eroded away Matt's sweet and innocent soul.
Ah.
You think that's true?
I didn't think I got older.
Did we corrupt you?
I got tired, man. You know, I just got.
Has the virus been implanted?
The what?
The virus has been permanently implanted.
There's
into
always,
you?
The virus is planted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I just got older, man.
I feel you. There was somebody in the YouTube chat earlier who did say they're on volume 2 of the Thor run from Jason Aaron, and that they absolutely love it so far.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So good. So I'm
Nice.
glad
Keep
you're
going.
checking it out. That is awesome.
One of the things that we talked about doing a while ago, and maybe eventually we'll get to it, but we talked about doing an Invincible podcast where every week, Augustine, Hector, and I, we would, because they're not completely caught up on the whole thing. They haven't read the entire thing, but I think Hector might be, but Augustine's not. But they're much further than I, and I haven't even started. But they talk about every week doing that, and we would like read about it and then talk about it. Part of me wishes that like we had enough time that we could do this whole Jason Aaron run of Thor, even if it was just us 3 talking about it.
Might be a cool way to lead up to the next movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Because that was the concept of the Invincible podcast, was we would do it leading up to the animated series coming on Amazon. And we have time at this point because it doesn't come out until 2021. You right there? Uh-oh.
That was a pepper.
You get some water in there, bud?
Nope, just coffee.
Well, that's your life now.
I don't know why I ordered hot pepper chili.
Well, all the chilies at that place are a 6 and above, so.
I like hot things, but regardless, the thing is though, I read those comic books way too fast. Like, to me, you would have to do it a volume a week.
I mean, that's
and you'll
fine
be
to do
done
that.
really quickly.
Yeah.
Reading 1 issue of a Thor book is like, what? I'm done. That was like 20 minutes of my time. Get out of here.
Oh no, volume. That's what we were going to do for Invincible. Was up volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we have till 2021.
And there is a lot
Yeah.
of Invincible. There's a lot.
It's like 100 volumes or something.
And Thor, you'd get through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe this. When you get a good book,
You can't put it down.
you can't put it down.
Yeah.
Which just happened to me a couple days ago. After an episode of Kolok, somebody recommended to me that I check out Bone Parish by Colin Bunn. Yeah!
Holy shit!
Is that not the most metal?
I'm sorry. Oh my god.
That is
that's
the most
so awesome.
metal thing I've ever seen Thor do.
Oh my god! What the heck?
You will never,
Man,
you will never see that in a movie ever.
that's
but it's so metal.
sick. That is so sick.
He just got to the part where Thor takes his intestine, wraps it around Loki's neck, ties the other into his hammer, and throws his hammer into the sun.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's so good, man. Actually, no.
Oh.
No. You were at the different part.
I was
You were at the other part.
I was at the napalm part.
You were at the napalm part.
Oh my God.
keep going
I'm
then.
sorry, I ruined
It's
something
okay.
for you.
I'm still gonna.
The napalm part's also awesome.
I thought this was the. I thought that was.
Oh, it gets better,
gets more
man.
metal.
It gets
Oh my
better.
God.
It gets even more metal.
Keep going.
Such a good book. Such a good book. So, because we're already at 6 o'clock, and we only got an hour left of the show,
Damn.
I do want to talk about a couple other books.
Sure.
I want to talk about this book that I read today.
You were obsolete.
You Are Obsolete. And here's something, when I'm going through Comixology and I'm picking out books, there's a bunch of new publishers now. I think where some of the bigger publishers are losing money because people say like, oh, print's dying and all this stuff. I love that we're in a day and age right now where indie stuff is more accessible than ever because of Comixology, Comixology Originals,
want it
things like
everywhere.
that. they're putting it out digitally, and it allows me to find stuff I would never find in a comic book store because people wouldn't put this stuff on their pull list. So the comic book's not going to pick it up. The stores base what they put on the shelves on what people are excited by. Who comes into the store saying, I want to put this on my pull. They'll add extras to the order to put them on the shelves if people are excited. A lot of the books I'm picking up and absolutely loving on Comixology are things I would never find in a store. Speaking of, this one right here, You Are Obsolete, was very interesting. And interesting enough that it made me kind of research whoever wrote it.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to know. I was like, this is so... I got logged out again. Son of a... today.
Jesus Christ.
Today. This book is basically a modern telling of Children of the Corn. And then, yeah,
What?
It's a horror book for sure. It's a horror book. Oh, I did my password wrong. You know, live on the air. It's a modern retelling of Children of the Corn. And I was like, this is written in such an interesting way. I don't know if this guy's ever written a comic book before, but it's almost in a refreshing way.
Okay.
It's a journalist. And apparently this guy got some attention for doing a gender-bent Lord of the Flies at a Kansas theater with a bunch of young girls and called it Ladies of the Fly. And and apparently it was really good and just crazy. Right. And this this book is creepy, but it also starts saying things, and I'm like, it's making a statement in a weird way, in a very careful way. It's kind of creating a commentary at times on how some kids today jump to conclusions without subtext.
Sound familiar?
And it's like, and that's kind of what's hidden between the lines.
Yeah.
Because this woman, also, it starts really creepy. It's all these kids.
This is already creepy.
All these kids sitting around, and they're not talking, but you hear happy birthday, and then the guy just dies into his birthday cake. Man. And one of the little kids says something, can we have cake now? And they're like, you know you're not supposed to be talking. And then they pull out their phones and start communicating by text message.
Too real.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
And you find out that there's this journalist who gets called to a town. And this journalist is someone who was destroyed by something being taken out of context on the internet.
Oh.
And she thinks her career is over and that no one will ever work with her again. They don't tell you what she supposedly said, though, or what was supposedly... They hint at, she's just going through, like, I'm out of work, I was on every publication, and now I'm done forever because of a misconstrued comment.
Wow.
And she thinks she's done forever, and then she gets this call telling her to go to this town to interview the children. And she's like, what is this, blah, blah, blah. She thinks that some like publicist is setting it up, and they're like, no one else will work with you. We know this. And then you start getting the idea that they orchestrated all this, probably. They probably orchestrated her downfall through their understanding of technology. And they bring her out to this island, and everyone on this island looks like this.
That is... Nope. That's a nope.
Yep.
No!
And the whole town's like very much empty. And the first time she sees some children, it's so funny. It's like this car going by.
Oh, no, thank you. Nope. That's can I get a hell no?
Right. And you start finding out. Everyone keeps talking about like, and like this woman.
They look normal.
Kind of. They're in a bar. And they're really
drunk.
Worried. No. And
Look at their eyes.
Yeah, help us.
Oh.
She starts to go off because there's this new person, and she's like, they're like, don't, you know the children are watching. And she's like, I don't care. I'm almost 40 anyway. And the whole story starts with her being like, I have to tell you my story. I have to see if I can change the world. I have 14 years until my 40th birthday. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? And then you start finding out everyone in this island dies the day they turn 40.
Oh, okay.
And then you start realizing that's what they mean by you are obsolete.
Yeah.
And that the children are the ones driving the future.
The future, yeah.
So it's a really interesting concept that kind of like falls into all these different places of like, the kids are like the ones who understand the future, who are driving it, and that these older people like they're out of touch and they're worthless, and it's
Well, I don't
it's
have 7
deep.
years left.
It's deep, and
That's really cool.
yeah, it's a cool setup, and
Yeah.
there are a couple things that made me uncomfortable in the book, and that as a horror book is a good thing.
Yeah.
To the point, like I said, after I got done reading it, I researched who is this writer, what else have they done, why is this a name I don't recognize, and this is what I love about indie comics and Aftershock and what they're doing. Aftershock is just taking some really cool concepts. And I think it was Aftershock that did Bone Parish too that I started reading. Or no, maybe it was... Nope, they didn't do that one. It was... I started reading the one where the girl has the son of Satan from Donny Cates. And yeah, they're doing cool stuff. They're doing cool stuff. You Are Obsolete was a great book. I think you should definitely check it out if you're into indie books and horror.
super interested
I'm into
now.
that. That sounds really cool.
And you said Children of Corn. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to my iTunes. I'm put on some music.
Right? Right?
By the way, this is gnarly.
Okay, so
This is
that...
gnarly.
Okay, yeah, that part is... I think the most
my
metal
gosh.
thing I've ever seen in a Thor book. Like that to that.
If you
It's
blink,
just-
you kind of don't. You miss it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you
You
that's
gotta be following
insane.
the art.
That is insane. That's really nuts.
Yeah.
So good.
Dang, man.
You say that, I hear the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack when I'm reading this book, man. I'm like, I'm all up in it.
Yeah. It's good.
So good. We're going to go through some of these next couple books pretty quickly.
Sure.
Valkyrie number 3. I'm loving this series. It is still written by Jason Aaron. If you liked his Thor run with Jane Foster, now she is the last Valkyrie. And this is a cool book. She's taking Heimdall to death. Heimdall dies in like issue 2. Spoilers. And because she's the Valkyrie, she's like giving him his ride through death. But she wants to take a route through the multiverse of different death realms that he hasn't got to see.
Oh, wow.
And it's like as they're going through, his armor's stripping off, which is his identity of self and where his powers lies and stuff. It's just really well written. It's really beautiful. It's really good art. I'm digging this Valkyrie run so far.
I haven't read number 3 yet, but I've loved the run so far. The first 2 issues
really
are really
good.
solid, man. It's
Really
really
good.
good stuff.
Baby Teeth, that was it. Perry Comics, it was Baby Teeth. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say earlier. The Donny Cates Aftershock book.
Nice.
I just started reading that one too. Because I blew through Bone Parish in a day. So
Oh my God.
I did. I sat down the other night. Someone recommended it to me after Kolak, which I guess was Monday night.
Yeah.
And they're like, have you read that? And I was like, no. And then I started reading it. I was like, oh my God. This is like almost a... It's not, but there's like elements of it that are exactly what I was doing in Kolak, which was like grinding up people's bodies as a drug. And using those parts of their soul to like be a drug. It's different, but similar enough where I was like, I gotta read this. And it's only 12 issues. It's a 12-issue run. I read it all in one night, and it was great. Really good book. Bone Parish is awesome. That was Colin Budd.
Damn.
Right?
It's all coming full circle, man. You gotta read that run. All right, I'm done with Thor. I'm done with Thor.
All right, you're with us now.
I'm back.
We're gonna
I'm
talk
back.
books. We're
Yeah,
gonna talk books.
yeah.
But how fucking good is that?
It's so good, dude.
so
gosh,
good.
it's a great character. I can't wait to see them bring like Gore into the like MCU. I'm sure it's gonna happen. Do you think it'll happen?
I don't know if they can.
It's really hard to do.
He's hard to do.
But I feel like if they could do Thanos,
He's a comic book character. Yeah, but Thanos is like steeped in years of, and I will say I didn't think they could do Thanos, but he's steeped in years of cultural like. He's been around.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been around. There's been lots of different takes on him.
That's true. That's
Gore has just been one villain who's not human-like, and his entire setup is based on what Thor and Asgard has been in the comic books.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, his character revolves around the gods.
yeah.
And we haven't had the gods' presence in
True.
the movies like we have in the comic books.
That's
the
true.
gods have been messing with everything in the comic books.
Yeah.
And Gore's kind of birthed out of his anger of the gods.
Good stuff though.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, number 16. I gave this one a read.
Have you been following it at all?
I have. It's okay.
I mean, how's Slott doing writing Iron Man?
Better than Spider-Man.
I mean, in Spider-Man, he's like he wanted to write Iron Man.
But I think Fantastic Four is way better.
Yeah,
I think
haven't
he
done
does.
Fantastic
I
Four
think
yet
he
either.
does great adventure stories.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, his Silver Surfer, they're great. But I think he does Iron Man's voice really well. I think he does the voice of Tony Stark. But he, just like his Spider-Man run, I think tries to go too big, too quick.
Yeah.
And I think some of the best stories with those characters are centralized, whereas like in Fantastic Four, having it really big and expansive is really cool, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever. It's an interesting book. The whole thing's dealing with a lot. This whole storyline has a lot to do with like, it's a cool concept. It's, you know, where does humanity lie? And do machines have a soul? You know, because the Marvel comic book universe is filled with androids and you know, half of their freaking team, you know, it's like Vision and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is he a person? Does he have a soul? And does Tony Stark even have a soul at this point? Because he's been a backup of a backup of a backup of Tony Stark.
Especially in this, because like he's
dead.
He died
And he came
then
back.
they put his it's like, they kept him on like like they kept him frozen or something.
Yeah.
After Civil War II, right? Yeah.
Guys, I made an update this week. I'm controlling the camera by my phone now, so
Whoa.
you guys can stop complaining when it gets too dark. I can adapt.
Nice.
That tech works.
That's apparently seamless.
Do you think this has a soul, dude, or is it?
No, I'd burn it if I got the chance. All of it. The Weatherman, Volume 2, Number 4. I'm still really digging this book. That's all I'm going to say, just so we can keep moving.
Cool.
Strayed, Number 2. This book is bonkers. It goes like through all these crazy psychedelic looking stuff. I know we brought this up last time on the show. It's the one with the cat that flies through space that's looking for the worlds to colonize for a very evil human race.
That sounds awesome.
A woman has a psychic relationship with her cat. This cat can travel on the astral plane to go to planets and is being charged by this evil authoritarian government to do so, and they're not allowed to be able to be a family together, the woman and her cat, unless they keep going out on these missions, and they're holding that above them. Like, if you go on this last one, we'll allow you to your release papers.
What a crazy concept.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yep. And the very end of this issue kind of sets up why it's called Strayed and what happens next. So it's worth a read. It's definitely worth a read, and it has a lot to say just about humanity, and also it's a very interesting take on a woman and her relationship with her cat.
Cool. I can dig it.
Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about the book. It's really fun. And I don't even remember who's the publisher on that one. Dark Horse.
Dark
Yeah.
Horse.
All right, Adam.
Yeah, so I read both of these. I read Age of Resistance Rey and Rose. I personally liked the Rose story better because it gave us a little bit more context and backstory, not just to Rose, but also the relationship she has with her sister and where they come from. And there's one cool thing that I thought the book did where the whole time you're reading it, you're led to believe that it's from the perspective of Rose. It is in fact not. It is from the perspective of another character, which I won't spoil for you.
Oh, cool.
But I really like the fact that we really established that Rose is a character who is very smart when it comes to machinery and understanding how ships and weaponry and all that sort of stuff works, but she's not necessarily the best pilot and all that sort of stuff. That's really the job of her sister. And you get an understanding of why her and her sister Paige joined the Resistance and sort of the objectives that they have for why they joined the Resistance. And it's done in a really nice way. I think this is going to be one of 4 or 5 issues or so I'm curious to see where the story goes. I feel like, honestly, if it would have been just a single issue, it would have been a really strong, just like...
Wait, this isn't going to be another one of those just single
One
issues?
shot?
I don't know. Maybe it is. If it is, I think it did a really, really great job of just summing up the backstory of how she got into the Resistance, and the relationship with her sister is really well established. So if you go into The Last Jedi, and you obviously know, most of us all seen the movie, she dies, there really feels like there was something special there between her and her sister, and it's very fun. You get to know a little bit about the parents, but not too much. But I thought it was just a really fun, great little insight into Rose Tico, the character.
Cool.
When it comes to the Rey book was really, really weird because it takes place literally right after Rey comes back from fighting Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens. So it's her going off to find Luke Skywalker, but the story takes place on the way to finding Luke, whereas in the movie, that's not what happens. Her and Chewie just get on the Falcon and they just go to Acto and they meet Luke.
Yeah.
But there's some great moments there with Leia and Rey, which I thought was really cool that we didn't get in the movie. There's like some overlapping stuff. So overall, Rey 1, wasn't really that into it. Didn't really think that it'd add a whole lot to Rey the character, but there were some great moments with Leia, also in the Rose book as well. But the Rose book I thought was just a better and more fun read.
Sweet.
Cool.
Did you read Psylords?
I didn't get a chance to get to Psylords.
I haven't done Psylords either.
So I like the first 3 issues, but yeah, I really wish I would have got a chance to read this one.
This one ties a lot more into the overall bigger Valiant universe.
That's what people were saying, that this one definitely feels like, oh, we're like kicking off, like it feels like the story has now taken a big jump forward into like the meat of what it's going to be.
It finally, the first 3 issues I said, like, I don't know how this like fits into Valiant.
Yeah.
This issue, like, they were actually sent to space by Gate. Gate is a huge part of the Valiant universe. And you get, so I won't spoil it for you, but it was definitely a fun read. A little predictable at times, but still really fun read.
Cool.
Once in Future 2, you see what I mean about that Power Rangers art though?
Yeah.
Does that sword not look like a
that
Power
sword
Ranger
looks
sword?
just like the Green Ranger sword.
Yeah, dude.
Looks like something like Lord Draken would have.
Dan Mora, like, that is not an insult. Like, that is not an insult.
Yeah, it's
the
awesome.
Art is great. And this book is so cinematic.
Kieran Gillen.
Kieran Gillen again.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
It's so cinematic. It's a lot of fun to read. And
that looks really good.
It's going to make a great TV show, whoever decides to pick this up.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's gonna pick it up. But this is a great book. It takes place, it's like old British, this guy finds out his grandma was a secret agent who hunts magical creatures. His grandma holds him at gunpoint to make him like take her to a graveyard.
Oh my God.
And he's like just a writer or something, and he's like, they set up in issue 1, like he's on a bad date, and his grandma breaks out of the nursing home, and he gets a call, and the date was really awkward, and he's like, I have to go, my grandma. And she's like, that's a new one. And he's like, no, I'm the kind of guy that might go. Like, it's great. The guy's a bumbling kind of fool, and his grandma's a badass. And
I'm
it's
really
a
into
great
this.
team up.
I'm gonna add that to my list.
And the main villains are like, kind of like, it's an interesting setup. It doesn't pull its punches in what it thinks about Brexit, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first issue especially sets up these villain characters that are trying to bring back the king, to keep all these foreigners out. And then the irony of all that is when they bring the king back in this one, and like I said, it reads so cinematic, and the pacing of the book.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so they reanimate the king, and when they like get on their knees to serve him, he's like drinks their blood and kills them all because they're Anglo-Saxons. And it's just like kind of a great, like, you think you're not a foreigner. I fought wars against the Anglo-Saxons when they invaded us,
That's crazy.
Damn.
It's so good. This book is awesome. It's just really good. Yeah, it's basically the King Arthur mythos, but in a really interesting way.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, LOL. We're like, we're gonna bring you back to save us from all these foreigners. Then he's like, you're a foreigner.
Yeah. And
Yep, pretty much. You got a chance to read this, right?
I did.
Napoleon Dynamite #1.
It's really fun. Like,
Dude.
it does a really great job of capturing the essence of the movie.
My friend Carlos is the writer on it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we do
Dude,
improv together.
It's good, man. I really liked it. Like, it did a really nice job of capturing the
Carlos
essence.
Guzman.
You know Carlos? He used to work at IDW, then he left and did his own thing. He did Pink Cheetah. Now he's back at IDW.
Yeah, I think
doing
we did
this.
an improv show.
Between that and like the artwork is really stylized and fun. I really like this. And the basic concept is like it takes place after the movie and all that sort of stuff, and Pedro's president and all that sort of stuff. And they're coming to the point now where the principal has basically said that like, look, we think there may have been some faulty voting counts on you becoming being the president of the school and all that sort of stuff. So there's fun twists and turns with the story. At the same time, Napoleon is being Napoleon, and there's a lot of dialogue in this. A lot. They fit a lot of dialogue in one single page. But if you love the movie and you love just sort of how like eccentric and just funny it is, the comic book does a great job of translating what the movie was.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
I really dug it.
Crushing it, Carlos. Heck yeah, man.
I think I got you on this book, right?
No, I bought you this book.
Oh, you were the one that got me
Remember,
the first one.
I went to the comic shop before coming in, and I was like, oh, Zach would love this, and I got you #1.
I love this book. It's one of my favorite books on the stands. I know we talk about it every time an issue drops.
Yeah, man.
It is one of the best portrayals of, like, I think growing up with, I think this is why you and I both like it.
Yeah.
We relate so much on this.
Yeah.
Of like just growing up with a real hard ass dad.
Yeah, man.
And what do you take from that?
Yeah.
And what do you make define you? And how do you escape it? How do you move forward? It's beautiful. It's so well written.
Yeah.
Have you read this issue yet?
Not yet. I got
Oh,
it right
man.
here. I got it right here, though.
There's
That last issue ended. I wasn't sure how that was going to end last issue. I thought
Right.
I thought they were getting somewhere.
because it was he meets his grandfather in the
Yeah.
last issue, and that was such a great issue about just how, is it in the family? Can he
Yeah.
escape it? His anger, which makes him basically a villain. But this whole scene with the fox and him was expertly written and so well paced, and it hits you.
Yeah. I love this
It hits
duo.
you, man.
I think the Fox is so great, man.
Yeah, it goes for it, and it's Scotty Young's best work.
Oh, those panels are awesome.
They're so good.
Oh, man. It's like, oh,
Great,
God.
great book.
Volume 1 is out. This is issue 10, right? 11. So volume 2 should be coming out pretty soon. There are only 5-issue volumes, I think.
I don't know, man.
So
I just been reading
highly
it
recommend
every
it.
time it drops. And
It's my favorite thing Scotty Young's done. And I really like Scotty Young.
I do too.
Yeah.
It just feels so honest, and so don't do that. Don't. What are you doing?
Putting you in focus. Do you want to be in focus?
Oh, we're out of focus.
Yes. You just got out of focus a couple seconds ago.
God damn, what the? Well, so much for controlling this from my phone. You know,
Change it. I don't know.
so much for fucking controlling this shit from my phone.
You're like, don't touch that. I'm like,
Well, I'm like, I got settings right here. What do we?
Poor guy.
Because I see when you touch it, the whole thing shakes.
Thanks, dude.
I haven't read Killers #3 yet. Lady Mechanica. Did you get a chance to read it?
Have you guys been keeping up with that franchise though? Because I remember when that first came out.
Long time ago.
A
Yeah.
long time ago. I really liked it. I thought it was a cool world and stuff. If you like steampunk, but I haven't been keeping up with it at all.
You liked the first issue of this run
did, yeah.
in Spain. See,
You
I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah.
I want to keep up with Killers. What are we at now? 629. We'll get through the rest of these, and then we'll go back to House of
Yeah.
X.
Woo! Because we need to talk.
We're gonna talk.
We gotta talk about
We're gonna
that.
talk. Guardians of the Galaxy #9. This has been a fun run. It's not my
Yeah.
favorite thing that's being done right now by Donny Cates, but it's fun.
Is it the rescue mission? Does Rocket go for it, or is it?
Yeah. They kind of end on that, but it's more like ever since the movies, I feel like we're overplaying Peter Quill and his dad and stuff. I like old Guardians of the Galaxy because it was
Yeah.
never about Star-Lord. It was about all of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like ever since the movies, it's always been about Star-Lord. Now I'm like, I feel like he's the least interesting character in that group.
Yeah. I still think this run's been pretty fun though.
Yeah.
But is it? And Cates is writing this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like my least favorite thing he's doing in Marvel
Oh,
right
I think so too. But I still think it's good. I still
Yeah.
think it's fun.
Did you check out Flash Forward?
I like Flash Forward a lot. It's a Wally West story dealing with sort of like the aftermath of Heroes in Crisis, I think, which I have not read. So I think for me it'd be really beneficial to kind of go back and get the full context of like, okay, Wally West was erased from the multiverse, basically.
That's a cool
This new character Tempest comes in and is like, I need to try to restore the multiverse, and I need to use one of the fastest characters alive, and that's Wally West, who's now in prison in Blackgate Prison because of basically when he was brought back, he like killed a bunch of people or was involved in a bunch of deaths.
What?
So he's basically like imprisoned himself in there. Now he's dealing with like all these other villains.
They didn't like villainize him, right? Like, he did. Was he just framed for it, or is he?
I haven't read Heroes in Crisis, so I'm not sure exactly.
Man.
But he basically like voluntarily goes in there because he's like, I've been a part of these terrible things, so I now have to deal with the consequences of it all. But he's in Blackgate with all these other villains, so they're basically trying to kill him any chance that they get. And then he gets his visit from Tempest, and Tempest is like, no, your calling is greater than this. Like, the multiverse is crumbling. I need someone who will be able to save the multiverse. And, obviously because he was taken out of the continuity, kids, wife, all that stuff is gone, more or less. And we get a little glimpse as to like what sort of happened.
I like these full page spreads, man.
It's good, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Who did the art? This looks like someone
sure
who
who
did
the
Batman recently. It looks like
Maybe. But it's cool to sort of see him, and he's got this collar, so his powers, he can't use them, and then all of a sudden his powers are released. And then he meets Tempest, and it's basically like, I need you for this greater thing. I'm going to shove you back through, and you're going to become Flash again. So now he's being shoved into, I think this Superman is from the 3rd century.
Yeah.
President Superman, basically.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool setup.
Superman, nice.
Yeah, it was a-
President Superman.
Yeah, it was a really cool setup.
Well,
So
you pass these bills.
I definitely want to continue reading it and see where it goes, and read Heroes in Crisis to kind of get the full idea of like, okay, what happened with Wally exactly.
All right, let's go, Adam. We got Lex Luthor, Year of the Villain, #1.
I read this. This is Lex Luthor basically jumping all around time and throughout the multiverse to basically like recruit and or kill all the other Lex Luthor. So there's one Lex Luthor. I wasn't really that into it.
There can be only one.
Yeah. Luthor.
Does it explain why he's wearing like the cloak now?
There's a whole lot of stuff that seems to happen with Lex Luthor throughout the last like few different runs. I wasn't that crazy about it. I think there's some cool concepts that are brought up, but it was kind of one of those reads where I was like, okay, I don't know. I have to either reread again or keep going to see how I really liked it. But Blade Runner,
You've been digging
loving.
this.
I
Yeah,
really
you've
love
been
it. I
digging
got
this.
issue 2. I read that because I missed it. I got issue 3, but like I think the basic setup was this Blade Runner has basically been set up or been hired by the guy at the Wayland Corporation to find his wife and daughter.
Sweet.
You don't really understand exactly why until you find out that the wife is in fact a replicant and she has to go under hiding. And then the daughter also ties into it because she may have a part of her gene that the husband and the Wayland the Tyrone Corporation might want to use for future things. So it's a really, really fun adventure / noir / mystery. We get to explore different parts of the world. They go across the border into Baja, which is cool. You know, I know in 2049 we got to see a little bit of like the area between LA and San Diego, and now we're going into Mexico, and I think that's really, really cool to explore that. And some really cool stuff happens with the character, and she discovers some things. You discover that there's a replicant who's able to basically age itself up so we could go into hiding. Really cool stuff. I'm really, really digging the Blade Runner series. And next issue is the last one. So,
Oh shit, it's just a 4 issue.
yeah, just 4 issues. And I think they're doing a few other Blade Runner series as well, but I really dig it, so pick it up.
That's awesome, man.
And listen to it with Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack
Ooh.
Of course.
by Benjamin
Of
Wallfish.
course.
It's really good.
Fair Lady Volume 1 dropped today. I feel like this is a book our audience would super love. It's straight up like awesome fantasy tale with a lot of badass characters.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong with it.
I read issue 1. I really enjoyed it, and then I just forgot to pick it up.
Yeah. Excellence #5. I'm still absolutely loving
I gotta
this
pick
book.
this up, or I gotta read it at least.
This might
I
be
know
one
you have
that's
them all.
easier to read in a volume because there's so much world building and a lot to soak in. It's a whole new world.
I usually prefer Image comics in volume form. There's a few exceptions, I think, but like I'll definitely pick that up for sure. You know, and Image is good where their first volume ones are always $10, and then they go up 15. But it's like a nice entryway to see if you like it or not. So.
Yeah. I've been reading Death's Head. I don't know why. It's okay. This really bummed me out though. I didn't know this was dropping this week. It ended. It concluded. Black Hammer. Last issue.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
You just were going. You're like, wait, what?
It's over?
I didn't read the summary either. I was just it's in my
just waiting
it's
for
in
it.
my pull, so it automatically downloads on
Gotcha,
Comixology.
gotcha,
I'm
gotcha.
subscribed to certain books. I'm subscribed to Black Hammer, so I just start reading it, and then halfway through the book, I was like, "Oh God, it's ending.
Yeah.
This is it. This is I can tell the way he's talking. This is the last issue."
Yeah.
So yeah, that one hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
We also had. I'm gonna skip a couple of these. We had Absolute Carnage this week.
Is this good? I have not followed any of it.
I would suggest just reading his Venom because it's
Okay.
good.
And do I need to read the Absolute Carnage, like the you know, like title Absolute Carnage numbers 1 through 5, or do I just need to read the Venom? Or both?
So here's the thing: as a tie-in book, Absolute Carnage isn't bad. It's the least bad of all the Carnage things I've ever seen done.
Yeah.
But that's not a high bar.
Okay.
Carnage,
is not good.
not good.
I don't think I've ever liked Carnage and Eddie Brock Venom until Donny Cates.
Right.
So.
And he is doing some cool stuff with it. It's very much not so much about Carnage as it is about
No.
Null.
Yeah.
And Null is basically trying to escape from the planet he's imprisoned on. And if you remember when Null showed up in Venom last time, he was on a giant dragon symbiote.
And when Miles showed up too, he was like, "What
Right.
the heck?"
Right. Cletus is wearing the symbiote of that dragon was wearing.
Oh.
So he has that
gotcha.
like god symbiote on.
Well, that's scary.
So it's got some good moments in it. As far as event books go, it's not the worst. It's not the worst.
Yeah.
But I think just reading Venom is so strong. It's really strong.
Sweet. I'll give it a shot.
But let's talk about the just this
this book.
stellar,
This little gem.
Oh my God.
stellar gem. Gold balls, y'all.
What? They're not
Gold
just
balls,
gold balls,
baby.
You guys, we're going into
Gold
spoiler
balls, baby.
territory.
Woo! Gold
I
balls.
cannot believe that this whole time I literally read all of like the Miles Morales run with him and stuff, and like those aren't gold balls. Those are eggs.
They're gold eggs.
They're gold eggs.
Woo!
What the
That would
heck?
have made. We did an RPG not too long ago on the channel that was X-Men based, and Lucas played gold balls.
I remember that, yeah.
And had he known they were actually eggs, that would have gone an even weirder place. It already went super weird.
And that's not even like that's not the tip of the iceberg with this book, because yes, there are eggs, but there's a team like of 5 of them.
That was my favorite
That was so
fucking
cool.
Me too.
thing.
I lost my
So
mind. dude.
we predicted that was going to happen in this issue. We
Yeah.
predicted that when they came out of the pods,
Probably gonna-
that
yeah.
was a like forward and future thing.
absolutely,
The
yeah.
second they died 3 books ago, we were like, well, yeah, it's going to be like
Yeah.
That opener's
that
gonna
scene
unravel
is going to
itself.
come back.
Yeah.
But what I loved as a comic book reader is, yeah, we were right. That was going to happen.
But the way-
But in a way that we could have never assumed.
Yeah.
And what I thought that this issue did was that it showed me Hickman's telling us there's so many things we could do with mutants that we haven't done yet.
Right?
It made me so excited.
Yeah.
This issue especially, after all the things we've seen so far in this series, this issue made me go like, he loves the X-Men. This is fucking X-Men. We're getting to see them
Oh my
coming together
God,
and
dude.
doing something we've never seen them do. And when this idea of bringing the X-Men together to do something absolutely amazing
Yeah.
is so great. It
Yeah.
was great. It wasn't just Jean Grey again
No.
doing this or this character doing
Yeah.
that. It's like they're coming together.
Yeah.
And they're literally so unified.
Can we go to that page? Can we just like see
Yeah.
the, because there's
I
like
think too,
Hope in
'cause, like-
there. There's who else they got in there? I don't.
It's
Wait,
Tempest.
This is so
Rogue-
just this shot is so
It's
awesome.
not Rogue,
No,
it's
not Rogue,
Tempest.
Tempest.
Tempest, yeah.
Proteus. Which, did you read the fine print about Proteus?
Oh yeah, dude.
About how
I
it's
was-
Charles Xavier's body?
I was like, what? What the heck?
And I can't tell if that was a typo right after it because the next thing said no one's ever experimented with putting. It started getting into fucking Kolak territory with putting egos and bodies and everything, and I was like, oh god damn it. Gosh, this is just so much awesome in this issue. And what I loved about it is it wasn't a combat issue.
No, but
But-
it was like so
Like the
rich and
second it
interesting
was
to
like
read.
gold balls with these and they're actually eggs, I was like, I'm on board for this!
Yeah, man.
Yay!
And then you have, and then Xavier is the one putting the memories back into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so crazy. It's so freaking crazy.
So Cerebro has a backup of every
So
personality
insane. Yeah.
of every mutant, and Sinister has the DNA backup of every mutant. There's your next 4 years of X-Men
I'm like,
comics.
Cerebro's Apple's time machine, basically. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Just backs up everything.
I just read I think it was Powers of X4, I think, and right before this, and the way they're doing Mr. Sinister is so funny. It's so
Oh,
great.
So
yeah.
good.
so
Oh,
good.
I was
Crazy
like, by the
Sinister's
way,
the best.
I'm the one with the X gene. I was like- I thought that was so great.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that was, because I usually read X-Men last because I want it to be the freshest in my mind when we do this, even though we do it last, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But Zach came up to me and he was like, dude, the way that they do it, it's like, and I'm reading it, and again, I don't have a lot of the history and the context of all the X-Men books, but going through it, you're like, this is so rich.
Yeah.
Every tertiary X-Men character you normally would be like, it doesn't really matter, matters so much in this book. And it doesn't, and it's like taking the abilities that they have and using them in a way that makes them as a character so interesting. Because Gold Ball's like, you would
But
normally be
Gold
like,
Balls, man.
whatever. But in this book, you're like, oh shit, this is stage one of bringing life back into the world.
And I love that you're making Hope like Hope had a great single run series around the time of Avengers vs. X-Men, but having her kind of come back as this leader of a group in
Yeah.
a way
Yeah.
that's like she's what ties them all together. Her power amplifies theirs and brings them all into one uniform
Yeah.
thing. And how they've become like these like almost gods among the other mutants.
Yeah.
And they're inseparable and everything. I was like,
Yeah.
they're setting up the next bunch of X books. Like it's all being like given to us of like, here's all of the story rich stuff that you can do for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Take that group, you're gonna have I can't remember what all books they announced, but is there a book led by Hope? Because that's it. There's your like.
I'm sure there will be.
I didn't see don't know the teams. I don't know who's in what, but
Right.
I'm stoked. All I know is
Zone Fighter J says I was sure it was Moira bringing them back somehow, and I love that it's not.
Yeah.
In fact, where's Moira?
Right? MIA.
In House of X.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's only in Powers, right?
She's the one that led to all of this.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Are they like hiding her somewhere? When's Moira coming back? We originally thought all the books in red were going to be Moira books.
Right.
This was one of the ones in red.
Right, yeah,
in the
it's
back,
not.
and it's not.
Yeah. And the ending of this book too is like
Iconic.
Yeah.
Fucking iconic. And sometimes I would be upset if a comic book's reusing certain imagery and panels over and over again. And in this book, I'm not.
Yeah.
It reestablishes how iconic this scene is,
Yeah.
how powerful it is.
Because the setup is so impactful.
Yeah.
So when you go back to it, you're like, man, this is something else. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, man,
This is
it's
so
like
good.
this
All of
imagery
this.
is so great and
Yeah.
so eerie. Like I find it so eerie.
And when Aurora
Yeah.
brings him out to the platform, and she's like, basically, these are our brothers, these are our sisters, and they're still standing there, and they're not clothed, and they just like,
How fucking weird is that?
That was so weird.
There's
It's so
something
weird.
about it.
I'm like,
yeah.
there's kids down there.
yeah,
There's kid mutants down there.
It's
and
so interesting.
Wolverine, Cyclops, those boys are buff. And
Those are big boys, you know what I'm saying?
Jean's hot as fuck. Like, we're just putting, it's like there's gonna be some confusion.
There's some blue balls
with the
happening.
kids.
Nightcrawler, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, I love the way that it's drawn.
Yeah.
It's like you see just enough that you need to see that you're like, man, it's super intriguing, but also very weird.
and then like
in the best way
see
possible.
Aurora like when they're reacting, like
Yeah.
she's giving them the question, and
Yeah.
then just seeing
Looking
their
for that
emotional
spark of what
react.
makes you
Like,
you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she like one of them. Who was it for? She like just smiles, and I was like,
Monet.
yeah,
or
Monet.
Monet, I
No,
think.
it was Monet. Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, don't touch me. And she just smiles. She's one of the
My
nice-
sister.
Oh my god.
Oh
good.
man, and I feel like we're obviously supposed to be going down a path here of like these. It's like the whole Magneto is right thing.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder if a year from now, 2 years from now, there's gonna be a moment where either like originally I thought Moira's lives were all gonna end here, but now I'm like this is all so rich.
Yeah.
And there's so much here. Do you let this Moira situation, if this is life 10 and she only has 10 lives, or 9, or was it she has 10 lives and this is 9? Do you let this run for a couple years and Moira has to be the one that's like, not like this?
Yeah.
This is not, there has to be a way, but not like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not where we've become this, which
Yeah.
is so militant and cultish.
Which is like what I love about the last panel of this is we see like all these bad guys in Apocalypse show
Entering,
up and Apocalypse says like I'm proud of you and
Yeah.
like this is what I've been trying to do and I'm like oh
But
my
I
God.
can't help it though, as an X-Men fan,
Yeah.
like when these scenes are happening, I'm like, I know that this is creepy.
Yeah.
I know that this is cultish. But fuck yeah, man. My X-Men. It just
The
feels
scenes
so
with
like
Xavier and Magneto are so good.
Now
too,
and
man.
now Magneto's kind of like the one who's like he's a little like
I mean, he was like that with Scott too in the past,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
like Scott was. I think that was a good decision,
yeah.
All this stuff is just so damn good that he walks you through the entire
Yeah.
process of mutant resurrection.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
which
crazy.
is really cool, and how important each individual is.
And I think that's so great too because you can just read through it in the comic book, but to actually have side notes of like this is exactly how it works, it gives you so much more context and just appreciation for the creativity that's put into the how of how it's done.
So I almost wondered if this was a typo, because I know typos happen. So Proteus's backup mutant husk is always created from the genetic base of Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
Note, there has been no experimentation regarding what happens when you combine a mutant mind with a husk that is not their own. Wait, you just said Proteus's backup mutant husk is always created from the genetic base of Charles Xavier. So I'm confused. That part confuses me. I don't know if that's an error or
Or you'll find out later.
I don't know, because that confused me.
Yeah.
There's another thing in here. Man, I wish I wrote it down because there's another thing I'm like, that seems a little off. But like in like a foreshadowing kind of way. I can't remember exactly what it was. I just read it like really fast.
I also love that this whole thing is basically saying, here's also the next couple years of X-Men books. We're not just going to be respawning the people who die on a mission.
Yeah.
It's the X-Men we've lost at Genosha.
Yeah.
The X-Men we lost in House of X. You know, like they're coming back. The ones that were depowered.
Yeah.
You know, and here's Xavier's plan. It will take this many years with this many hours of work and everything else. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts. It's
insane.
Freaking nuts. Hey, it's a new show, Freaking Nuts.
Oh my
Yeah.
It's impossible.
And
man.
Matt's the host.
I thought this was great too. The moments with Emma Frost and Charles, and I'm like, them having a secret kind of understanding between each other, and the big things that he has planned for makes Xavier seem way more shady. Because we know Emma Frost is shady.
Yeah.
She's always been shady.
Right.
She establishes herself as like someone who's like, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. Screw the rest of you. And Xavier's very much like, I know what you're doing, and I approve.
Yeah.
But he won't tell us what it is she's doing. And you're like, oh,
TBD.
Xavier, what's going on?
I still just get vibes of Reed Richards and
Yep.
you know,
Yeah,
Ultimate
100%.
Universe.
100%.
It just freaks me out.
Which I know Hickman wrote in the Ultimate Universe,
Right.
and he loves the Fantastic Four, so I'm kind of like, I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
if one day he took that helmet off, I would be like, get out. Get out. There's no way, though.
No way.
I also love this, setting up which countries are in bed with Krakoa. This is so deep.
Yeah.
It's so deep. I told Adam last week, like originally we were looking at this like it was a series, like a mini series, and I don't think this is. There's so many things they're opening up now, and I think you really get it from this one. This is not a mini series of 5 issues of this and 5 issues of this, and we're done. It's here's the next couple years of X-Men.
Yeah.
It's universe
It's the setup.
building.
Exactly.
It's the universe building. And I think there are some things we shouldn't expect answers on in this book. And I think we're wanting them, but we're not going to get them.
I mean, I think that was kind of the thing. It was like exactly because of that sort of thinking of like, oh, this is going to be a singular series. We thought the wrap up was going to be answering all the questions, but I think you said it either last week or the week before. It's throwing out all the seeds for what's going to come in the future, and it's not going to be this book. It could be a bunch of different series that are going to spin off and potentially answer questions. Hopefully, pay off the answers to the questions that have been asked in this book.
Yeah, man.
Which I love.
And I would agree with Redman Scott in the Twitch chat that the X-Men have always worked with villains almost their entire time. They've had villains on the team a lot over the decades. So I agree with that. And in some regards, like when people like tell Wolverine, like, you can't be so quick to judge, Wolverine has a very checkered past. He's killed so many people. How do you validate one death over another? Things like that.
Yeah.
But I loved this moment.
This was
This page, when I flipped it, I was just like, it's happening! Like, we get everybody, look at this! Oh, it made me so freaking happy. And I know that there's got to be some important, was it Exodus? Is that his name?
I don't know that one.
Exodus? Is that what it is?
I forgot
Because they're out in front, with Sinister out in front too. Like,
right.
There's got to be
We
importance
know
there.
this. Yeah.
But I also love that they set up the relationship. It is Exodus. Setting up that relationship with Apocalypse and Krakoa a couple issues before was awesome, and to have that like Krakoa being so excited to see
Yeah, man.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Which is like what? And even Apocalypse is like, I know him and he knows me. What did he say? I'm comfortable and he knows me and I, Krakoa.
There's just so much awesome in this. I'm so happy when I'm reading these books.
Yeah, it's so good.
And again, it's like, this to me is epic and cinematic and world building and expansive, and it's what you want when you say like, we've got J.J. Abrams writing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the amount of like time and energy and world building and research that had to go into this is...
Like Hickman, it seems like he's been reading this his whole life. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of love and care for
There's
these
someone who's
characters.
like spent a lot of time in this world who really wants to pay it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
this whole page, I love it so
good.
much.
Hey, we've got a new viewer who's never watched this show before. Welcome.
Oh, hey,
welcome.
what's up?
Jalen Glover, welcome.
Yeah. What's going on?
I love this though. You have finally become what I intended you to be.
Oh, yeah.
I could not be more proud.
I lost it.
We submit to the laws of this land, be what they may, and acknowledge that from this day forward we all serve a higher purpose than want or need. One people from this day forward. Oh shit.
Very well.
And then the fact that it's like a close-up too,
Yeah.
and you can't see his eyes, it's like, we're supposed to think Xavier's being shady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're
absolutely.
supposed to think it. Let it be known, let the word spread. Krakoa is for all mutants.
Dang.
It's just so good.
Look at it is. Oh,
Boom.
oh, so
good.
crazy.
So good.
So crazy.
Crazy.
And that was House of X number 5. We still got 3 more issues. Two Powers of X and one
It
House of
shows
X.
here. Who decoded what the title of the next issue is? I know our chat's been on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
To the point that
Nice.
I haven't even. I just asked you all.
Yeah,
Like, what's the
they're
title?
like, here it is.
If you are us, then be with us. Come home. Yeah. So that one was in red. Now I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out like why are these in red? What is
Yeah.
tying these together?
Yeah.
Next week's Powers of X is referred to as For the Children, and the following weeks of House of X is referred to as I Am Not Ashamed of What I Am.
Okay. Okay.
Huh.
For the Children,
Mm-hmm.
I Am Not Ashamed of What I Am. Interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. Y'all, this is, what
It's
a
just
crazy
what it-
time
Yeah.
to be reading that book.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
good.
I've loved that we've got to like do this every week. That's been really fun.
Yeah.
These are dropping every week.
I know, and now part of me wishes that there were other books that could have that as well. Because as much as I love revisiting a book 3 to 4 weeks later, I love the fact that every week we can, that's like the through line of the show has basically become the X-Men comic books,
Yeah,
which is
man.
awesome to have because it's like not every comic comes out every week, so to be able to have these books that can kind of swap back and forth, and it's
we're
such a
gonna
rich
put-
story. It's
And like
great.
putting a comic book at $5 weekly, I feel like it could be risky, but this book
It's
pays it
worth
off.
it.
It's like
It
so
feels.
worth
Yeah.
it. There's some books I'm like, I don't want to pay, but this one, absolutely, no
Yeah.
question.
It
you know?
feels friggin' epic.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's been so much fun. I read them at midnight. They drop at midnight, and I read it first thing before I go to bed. And then I usually read it again in the morning because there's so much to soak up.
Yeah. Thick issues.
I know as we get closer and closer to the end of this particular run, I want to go back and like the day before, maybe like start on Monday and read a few issues a day, and then on Wednesday get to like the end.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Have you Augie or Hector been reading these?
As far as I know, no. I asked Hector on Friday, he hasn't, and I don't know if he's just waiting for the whole
trade.
thing to come out and then he'll
Wouldn't
read
it be crazy if the reason he's wearing a mask is because it's David and not Charles?
Someone in the chat room did mention
That'd be crazy.
That would be nuts.
That would be
Yeah.
crazy.
If Charles is actually with Moira somewhere and he's
Else.
like not like this, and David's just like, "Come to me, my children." Oh,
Terrifying.
That would be nuts.
That'd be
Crazy.
awesome, though.
And also something David would do. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Sorry for all the tech issues starting out. It was still really fun. Thank you, Matt, for joining us.
Yeah, I'm really glad
Matt,
I made
Matt.
it. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah,
Of
man.
course, dude.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to come talk comic books with us. We are here every Wednesday talking about new comic books at 5 p.m., tech issues permitting. And we will be back next week. But if you are on Twitch or YouTube or anywhere you're watching, head over to twitch.tv/hyperrpg to watch Rat Queens, our official Rat Queens RPG. And it's a lot of fun. And if you dig comic books, you'll love as we explore this comic book world.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Bye.
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 Wait, which button do I hit?